So this is my personal statement advice video. Today I'm going to give you all of the tips and tricks that I used in my own personal statement. So hello and welcome back to my channel. Personal statement. Right, I have a notebook that I actually got from Morgan Stanley, and it's got all my personal statement tips and tricks in it from year 12 and also year 13. So I'm just going to be using the same stuff that I used back then. Let's get started with the intro. So the intro is always the hardest bit to write, and actually it may be best if you write the intro afterwards. But if you are comfortable in writing an intro, then basically what you need to do is establish your interest in the subject from the get-go. Don't wait till the main body of the paragraph. One big thing is do not write from a young age or from an early age. Do not write any of that. Another thing the intro should do, a good intro, should catch the reader's attention. Don't go with a quote because it just doesn't, it's very impersonal, but it can be like a story or an anecdote or something like that. If you are going to use a story, it can be entertaining, but still try and keep it more on the informative side. It's not really like a funny blog post or something like that. It's meant to be selling yourself. So do still try and keep it informative and make sure you keep it formal. Another thing is that the intro should always be relevant, and it should really be just telling the reader why you're interested in the course in a few sentences, which you then go on to explain in the main body of your personal statement. Okay, now onto the body of the personal statement. So this should really be where you're displaying all of your knowledge, all of your interest. And if you're applying to top universities, it's really good to have your own opinions in there in some format. But in terms of why that subject in general, ask yourself, why did you choose that subject? So really try and dig deep to find something that is perhaps more original and that other people perhaps won't use, because at the end of the day you are competing with the people around you. So you do have to think outside the box, you do have to be a bit original. And one really good thing you can do is across the 5 courses you're applying for, because remember you only have one personal statement for them all, you should try and find something similar across them all. So whether that be like a module or some sort of theme that is recurring in all of them, that's something you should try and pick up on and mention in your personal statement and then relate back to you. Also, you can take that and relate it to your current academic studies as well, and that will show that you're linking the two and you're thinking ahead. Okay, now if we go on to further reading, work experience and sort of career interest, there are a few things you can do for this as well. So I don't think everyone says to put career aspirations on your personal statement, but it can be good to just put a few lines of what you'd like to do in the future. One really important thing I would say for perhaps careers in politics, investment banking, like finance, that sort of thing, being aware with the news, with what's happening, cultural events, just commercial awareness in general, and really showcasing that in your personal statement. If you have relevant work experience or volunteering experience, this is a great place to showcase that as well. And don't just say you've done work experience at company X. Say more about what you learned, what skills you got, how that is going to apply to your course, your chosen course, and any particular module. Basically, what have you gained from it? Look at it from a very reflective sense. And say you have lots of work experience. I know I did personally. Don't be tempted to list them all. It's much better to take 1 or maybe 2 experiences and develop them as much as possible. Relevant work or relevant volunteering experience can be really good for more popular courses where perhaps other students won't have that. If you're in year 11 watching this, you may want to think about getting work experience before actually thinking about personal statements. And universities really like it when you mention like taster courses, public events, public lectures, books. I mentioned a book personally. By the way, I will be going over my own personal statements. Also, if you've done any essay competitions, written any academic essays, anything like that, this is the best place to put them. Also MOOCs, I don't know what it stands for anymore, but they're basically online courses that you can do, masterclasses. Try and do as much as you can, because within your personal statement you don't know what will fit best, and if you have lots of things to choose from, it just becomes easier. Okay, now we move on to extracurricular things. The percentage like ratio between the academic side and the extracurricular side depends on your university. So if you're applying to Oxbridge, it will be around 80% academic, 20% extracurricular. If you are applying to other universities, then it will be 75% academic and 25% extracurricular. However, some universities, I would say LSE, maybe UCL, like those top ones, they may want something around 78%, 22%, something in the middle of those two, because they are slightly more academic, but they're not Oxbridge. But this is really the place to show off your transferable skills, any leadership positions you've taken on, any achievements from sports, music, that sort of thing. The transferable skills can include leadership, teamwork, problem solving, communication, and time management. This is very much about how you can contribute to the campus community. What makes you special as an individual? What is so special about your personality that the university will want you? They want people that are more well-rounded in certain aspects, and the extracurricular side can be a really good way of showing that you are well-rounded. Any research projects, those sort of things would probably be supercurricular, and that's more what Oxbridge look for. So supercurricular is extracurricular things that are still like academic, like young enterprise, for example. So very similar to the main body of the essay, but slightly more extracurricular. And the main thing here is show, don't tell, give examples. And again, all of this has to be in a reflective sense. So what did you gain from it? It's not about listing your achievements, it's about reflecting on them and really telling the reader, the admissions tutors, what you found valuable from all of your experiences. If you have any long-term things like community service or just volunteering, those things can be really, really good too, because they show that you're committed to things. And you know, when you're going into a degree, a 3-year course at the least, they will want to see someone that is committed to their course and someone that is not going to drop out. Any mentoring as well, so you being the mentor, that's good. That's probably more supercurricular. Remember what I was saying about work experience earlier in the video. Try and be selective in what you choose. If you do sports, music, and like painting, don't choose all of them. Take the thing that you found most valuable or the thing that gave you the most skills and use that. One acronym that I came across was ABC. And this is basically activity, benefit, and course. So the activity is what did you do? The benefit is the reflection, so what did you learn, how did you develop as a person from it? And then the course is link it back to your course and link it back to your subject area in particular. Again, now the conclusion, we're getting to the end of your personal statement. Don't list things you've already put, and make sure you leave with a good impression. One really good idea here is to link back to your intro, whether it's just through a couple of words or a sentence. Try and have that cyclical structure and sum up the key skills that you've learned. Just reinforce your enthusiasm for the course. Also, you can write a few lines about what you want to achieve going into university, how you want your experience to be in terms of the skills you develop. Now I'm just going to give you some general tips that I picked up. Make sure you do not include the name of any university, and don't make your application really suited towards one university, because remember, you only have one personal statement across your 5 universities or your 5 programs. If you are doing a joint degree, make sure that you express interest for both. If you're doing a degree where it's like 75-25, for that make sure that you have more on your major part and less on your minor part. And yeah, just make sure that the other courses that you're applying to are similar. Again, one personal statement for it all, so it has to be fairly similar for it all. If you have any particular questions or queries, contact the university. If you are applying to Oxbridge or anywhere else that interviews, say for like medicine, things like that, make sure that you remember exactly what you wrote in your personal statement. Take a copy of your personal statement with you, read it again and again, highlight it, make sure you know exactly what you were saying. And really, your personal statement is all about making a good impression from the very start. These people don't know you at all, so this is your only chance to sell yourself, especially if they don't interview. But in general, it should make sense and it should flow really nicely. One really nice piece of advice that I got was that there should be a running thread throughout the entirety of your personal statement. Do all of this in a Word document or something similar beforehand before you put it into your application. You need to show that university why you're a good choice for them and why they should choose you out of all of the other candidates that they have. Frame the things that you have already into a really good way of showing them why you deserve to be on that course. In terms of writing your own thoughts and your opinions, really evaluate the things that you've read and the things you've listened to, the things you've consumed, and ask yourself, okay, but is there anything that I could nitpick from this, if that makes sense? So is there anything I could take further, or is there anything that hasn't been explained? Be really critical. Also, if you have any exceptional circumstances, it may be worth writing them in your personal statement in like a line or two, perhaps at the end. Try and reframe those circumstances into something that you learn from that. So you're still telling them what happened, but you're showing that, you know what, I am resilient, I can overcome this. If you can put them in your reference as well in more detail, that would be really good. Use all of your characters. Don't try and make it too formal and use big fancy words you've never heard of, but don't make it informal either. And it should generally show intellectual curiosity, especially for the higher ranking courses, the more competitive courses. It should show that you're willing to learn, as well as your engagement outside your school curriculum. You can use the STAR method. This is a method used in interviews a lot, but the S stands for situation, the T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for result. What was the situation? What was your individual task? Action, what were you doing? What did you do, more rather? And the result, what are the hard facts to back up what you did? How did it turn out? Do multiple drafts. I did so many drafts I don't even remember. Also, make sure you don't get muddled up with your drafts. Provide specific examples, avoid generalizations, avoid the word passionate because they don't want to hear it, and just make sure that you show character. Do not use slang, cliches, no puns. Don't plagiarize. Please don't plagiarize. There are so many personal statements out there on the internet, but if you use more than 10% of a personal statement, you will get caught for plagiarizing, and that means your application will be rejected anyway, so please do not do it. If you are going to talk about careers, then do not talk about salary as your motivation, because that does not show anything. You need to be genuinely interested in the field that you're applying for, the subject you're applying for. Don't have unsupported statements. The admissions tutors want as much evidence as they can for that achievement, that thing that you've done, and irrelevant quotes, they're just not needed. And just when you're writing your personal statement, make sure you do your research. What I did was make a mind map of all the things that I'd done, all the things that I was interested in. I tried to find connections between them all and write it that way. There were a lot of different ideas that I had, a lot that I threw out, didn't use. It'd be really good to try and get your first draft done by the end of this summer, because year 13 will come at you and you'll have less and less time. Like, your first draft just means something that is written in full. It really does not have to be final. Also, make sure you show it to your teachers, your family, your friends, and don't necessarily tell them what subject you're applying for. Ask them what subject they think you're applying for, because that way you can really see if your personal statement shows interest in the subject you're applying for, and just redraft until it's complete. That's it. Next time I'll be going through my own personal statement for economics and then one for accounting and finance as well. I'm going to be reading little snippets from it and just telling you what I did to get me into LSE, UCL, King's, Queen Mary, Royal Holloway, City, the lot. So if you're interested in that, then please do subscribe and hit the bell icon. Also, like this video if it helped you, and if you have any requests for any particular videos, put them in the comments below and I will see what I can do. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!